Hello and welcome to a traditionally overcast Silverstone for the British Grand Prix. Last time out we saw Button claim his third victory of the season and the closest top 3 finish we have seen in a very long time. 19 degrees should be pretty good for the cars today, so here we are in Silverstone looking at the magnificent new building that they created a few years ago to house the new pit straight after the changes they made to the track. So here we are then, 18 corners, 2 DRS zones over 5.8 kilometers, should make for some interesting battles on the runs down to Brooklands and Stowe, and both Spuds and Button will want that top step today. So let's have a look at Spuds' lap, currently sitting in 3rd position as he makes his final run on the soft tyres. Almost flat out through turn 1, but has to lift off through lack of downforce and go slightly wide as a result on the exit. You can see making up some time into turns 3 and 4. There you go, as he makes a run for the Wellington straight. As you can see, he is 2/10 up on his previous best lap, so going well so far as we fly down this straight. Brakes just after the 100-metre board marker into Brooklands. It keeps a tight line for Luffield. Lets the car drift out slightly after the slightest touch of the brake, being patient as to not let the car slide out on the exit. Lots of time can be gained here during qualifying as Spuds gains an extra 10th. Run down to Copse. Spuds lifts off and drops a gear and gets a good run through the corner before Maggots and Beckett's comes up shortly. Here we go, Maggots. Then to run to Beckett's. Gets a good line through Maggots, lifts off a bit and slowly changes down the gears to 5th for the exit of Beckett's to get good acceleration onto the hangar straight here. This has paid off as Spuds has now gone purple so far, half a second up on his previous lap. So just the final set to go as he brakes quite conservatively for Stowe. Gets the line he was after but ends up losing a couple of tenths for the run down into Vale. Brakes well. Hits the apex there but goes slightly wide on next corner, and then all that's left is to run for the line and then find out what time we're going to get. What is it? It's going to be a 1 minute 30.919 seconds to take pole position today. As you can see, number 28 on the front row of the grid there. All that remains to see is where did the Red Bulls come. So there's Sebastian Vettel's car sitting in 9th. He would have hoped for a better result, but he's not doing too well at the moment. The Ferraris seem to be slipping against the Red Bulls here. Spuds there, taking a standard photograph for being in pole position, and there's Button. I'll have to find out where he is in just a moment. It doesn't look like he's on the front row there. Again, last minute encouragement for Spuds as he plays, I don't know, Angry Birds on his tablet or something. But here we are, Love Spuds first, Daniel Ricciardo 2nd, Max Verstappen is 3rd, Jenson Button 4th, not doing too well, 3/10 behind Spuds today. You would have expected him to do a little bit better. Then you got Mercedes and the Williams, and then the Ferraris on the last of the top 10 there. Force India, Zuya Haryanto, Dan O'Kane in 15th, and then you got the Hasses, and Pascal Verlaine in 18th, and then the Renaults and the Saubers complete the grid there. So as the clouds make their way across the track, let's go down to the start of the race. 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights, and we're off. Spuds gets a good start, moves over to cover the inside from Ricciardo immediately as Button takes advantage of Verstappen's poor start. No dramas as everyone slots into place on the first lap. Spuds first currently, Ricciardo 2nd, Button's moved up to 3rd, and Verstappen has slipped down to 4th place as they come and go for the run down to the Wellington straight here. Nothing much happening just now, Spuds leading the way and then hopefully trying to shake off Daniel Ricciardo here. Has been performing well recently, he done really well in Austria, finishing 2nd place just ahead of Spuds and really hindering Spuds' progress to the championship so far. So a bit of a strange line from Spuds there as he comes for the run down into Copse, but seems to have collected it all back together. A pretty uneventful first lap as to go through Maggots and then Beckett's. Spud seems to be making the smallest gap over Ricciardo here. Let's see what Button can do. He's pretty close, but we're going to go on board with Spuds just now. Someone's been left behind on the track map there. I don't know what happened to them. Someone must have got in a bit of bother on the first lap. But as we come round to complete the first lap of 26 this afternoon, Spuds has kept on to his lead here, held on to his lead. Ricciardo's not that far behind, he's only 3/10, and then Button's 2/10 behind him. It's looking good so far this afternoon. Button does have some pace, but it doesn't look like he's quite on the pace of Spuds so far. You would have expected the Button to make a move on Ricciardo. He might actually make it on the run down to whichever this corner is. It's Brooklands, if I remember my track layout. 2/10. Ricciardo has made up time on Spuds, but he is in the slipstream. And let's see what Spuds can do on the run out here. So, pretty uneventful start to the race. Things will pick up soon. Oh, here we go. There's Massa coming round, trying to make a move on Verstappen, but he hits Verstappen, and then it goes into the path of Hamilton, who suffers some damage there, and he will not be pleased. He will be a little peeved, especially when Massa gets away with it. So look, Hamilton's coming around a corner, he can see the Williams, and he's just in the wrong place at the wrong time. So he's got a lot of work to do this afternoon. And here we are, there's two Sauber teammates as well, just a bit further back. Almost doing a carbon copy of the same thing. He hits his teammate, and that puts him onto the grass, but no damage suffered there to either car. So as we come around to start the third lap, Spud sets the fastest lap so far. He's now got a 6/10 advantage over Ricciardo here. And here we go. Let's see. This is Hulkenberg going for the double pass around the outside of Sainz and the Manor there. Haryanto is not going to have it though. He's come back and he's taken the position back. So he's got some work to do on that Manor if he wants to get past. Manor's looking pretty tasty down in a lower order there. And Spuds comes in. This is lap 5. And braking just for the line. It's a very slow pit lane entry. It's about 37 miles an hour roughly, if I remember rightly. I don't know what that is in kilometres. I think that's about 50 kilometres or so. Yes, 37 miles per hour. So we're just going to find our pit box here. Bottas takes the lead of the race. Looks like Ricciardo stopped at the same time, and it's 2.1 seconds stop for medium tyres. And I see a Button just on the mini-map there, in the very slight yellow dot. It's come around the final corner. It's actually going to be quite close. Going to be close on this pit exit here. Spuds pulls out, and he's just in front of Button and has to cover the inside line here going into turn 3. Spuds on his fresher tyres should not have a problem staying in front of Button here, as he's going to eye up Perez just in a moment. See, he's just ahead, but you can see how close the two teammates are. Let's hope they do not connect again like they did in Baku. But Button has actually made a pit stop already. He's got actually some fresher tyres, and Spuds is going to come around the outside here and then for the inside line on Luffield. Don't quite know why Button's pitted already, but he has got to make another pit stop for another compound, so he might have had a problem on the first couple of laps. But Button's looking to get past the Force India. Spuds will be quite happy to have that Force India behind him as he comes up to the Renaults, the one Renault and the Haas. Just ignore Tim playing Counter-Strike Global Offensive down there in the corner. So you can see Spuds is looking to get past these two as soon as possible. This is for position, so they've got a right to fight for their right to party. And so he's going to come up the inside here, and he's going to make the double pass around Stowe. Pretty easy on his fresh mediums there. The Renault pulls off into the pits. His tyres are done for the day, and I don't think the Haas will be that far behind. So here we go, going around the final corner. So this should be starting lap 7 now. easily in front of the Haas of Gutierrez there. Button should catch up pretty soon as we go on board with Spuds. Yes, here we are, lap 7. A little bit of a lock-up on the inside there. But he's in 4th position with Palmer ahead of him. So Palmer should be into the pits as Spuds had to make a correction for a bit of oversteer there. No skin off his nose though. Let's have a look at the gap. So 8 tenths between Spuds and Gutierrez here. It won't be long before Button goes for a move, and here we are actually on board with Button now. He's going to go for the outside around Gutierrez, and Gutierrez is going to squeeze him. He's going to squeeze him just enough, but Button is going to hold on to the outside around Copse, and behind that is Ricciardo going around, who was it there? Perez. There we are. So this is Button pitting for his medium tyres. Shame we didn't get any footage of the first couple of laps where he pitted, and we're just going to go back on board with Spuds to see where he is on track, as Button is exiting the pits just now. So Spuds is in the lead, 5-second gap to Ricciardo. And what's going on here? This is Bottas on Raikkonen. Bottas is going to come up the inside here. And then he's going to try for the inside on Luffield. And Bottas is hanging around the outside, but he can't quite hang on to that position there, and Raikkonen fends him off quite nicely. Raikkonen is having none of it. So we'll just keep an eye on this and see how it develops, as Bottas seems to have the better pace right now. As they go into Maggots. And then back Beckett's. He should have a good line. Bottas should have DRS here. There's no reason why not. He's going to have another go on the run-up to Stowe. Surely? Yep, he goes for the inside line into Stowe. Raikkonen's still having none of it. And he's hanging on in the outside. And Raikkonen's still ahead. Just showing Bottas who is the master Finn at this moment in time. It's looking good. We'll have to keep an eye on this situation. It doesn't look like it's going to be long before Bottas gets past. He has got the pace, but that Ferrari is just hanging on in there. So another lap later down the line, Bottas looks like he's going to try again as he come out of the final corner, and his engine blows up, and that puts an end to what would have been an interesting battle this afternoon. Claire Williams will not be a happy bunny, because that was a fantastic battle for 3rd position there. And this calls out the virtual safety car, which still keeps things in Spuds' favour, as it will maintain the gap between himself and Ricciardo at around 6 seconds. So looking good. We're almost to the halfway point of the race. We're at lap 11 of 26. Spuds just lamenting the fact that these corners are so slow, but then again it is a safety car situation, so you've got to be careful. So there's a nice aerial shot of Spuds on lap 15 here. Going relatively slow, but maybe he's just conserving a few tyres here. But he's just going to pick up the pace. Yeah, here we go. That's a lot better. I'm not sure if that was the right edit there, but it looks good nonetheless. So he's out into no man's land. He would have expecting a harder race today, but there are still another 10 or so laps to go before the checkered flag, so it's nowhere near over just yet, especially with another pit top. Pit top? What the hell is that? Another pit stop to take, of which he will be stopping in this lap. As you can see, just down the right corner there, see the green light lit up for pitting. So this is his time to pit, and we can see the outside shots as he comes around Stowe. And you saw earlier as he was coming out of Beckett's going around Chapel that his tyres weren't exactly the best. The grip is sort of going, and it's time to get them changed. We'll just have to see what sort of tyres he goes for today as we head into lap 16, the final stint of the race. Let's see what sort of time we get here. Ricciardo is pitting as well. And that's a 2-second stop, slightly a tenth faster as Verstappen comes through to take the lead of the Grand Prix, but he does have to stop again. So this does effectively mean that Spuds is still in the lead, unless Verstappen's going to stretch those tyres to the end, but it does seem very unlikely this afternoon. So there you go, Spuds on the hard tyres. The McLaren pit crew performing very well today, and comfortably rejoining in second there. As Ricciardo stopped on the same lap, this makes Spuds' life easier now that he does not have to worry about catching up to Daniel on the outlap. Button takes third position, which should provide a buffer for Spuds for a lap or two. Because this race is against Ricciardo this afternoon, it looks like. Button does seem a little bit out of it because he does still need to stop again. Unless he can do a miracle and make these tyres last to the end. Does, however, again seem unlikely. Let's see if Verstappen comes in. He's just going around Stowe now, so he's not actually that far away. Button is coming in on lap 17 here. Let's see what tyres he goes for. And he's going for another set of the mediums. So he's hoping the extra speed will help him catch up to Spuds and the front runners. Seems like a decent stop with no issues, and he's on his way again. So that's him now dropped to 6th position. So he'll have his work cut out for him in the final laps of the race to claw something back here today. Still not sure why he took that extra pit stop at the start of the race, but that has hindered him this afternoon. There were some good points on offer, especially with him only being 2 points behind Spuds in the championship. But hopefully he can do something on these medium tyres, as everyone else seems to be on the hards. So this is Raikkonen. He's done very well this afternoon, but he has now lost that position to Verstappen here. Max has got much better pace than the Ferrari this afternoon, as he takes up the inside of Copse for third position. That was not Copse. I can't remember the name of that corner. But that was lap 21, and now we're on lap 26, the last lap of the race. The order at the top stays the same, as Button sets the fastest lap, trying to gain sort of bragging rights after a rough day for him. So we're on board with Spuds as he is going towards Maggots and Beckett's again for the final time this season. And the gap has come down to 3 seconds as Ricciardo tries to charge down Spuds on this, the final lap. Some last minute drama coming up shortly, and I'll tell you what that is in a minute. So 1 Spuds, 2 Ricciardo, 3 Verstappen. That looks like the order this afternoon. What's this? The Force India of Perez. His engine goes on the final lap here, and that will be very frustrating for him today as he pulls off to the side there. But here's Spuds coming through the final corners to win the British Grand Prix. He will be ecstatic with that, as he missed out on the podium last season. And the 2 Red Bulls of Daniel Ricciardo and Max Verstappen claim 2nd and 3rd, respectively. So Eric, again, a very happy man. Button last time out, Spuds this time out. Spuds claims his 4th victory of the season. And things are looking good so far, especially as Button has finished in 6th position. And the crew very happy there with that result. They're on form this season, and it's only a matter of time before they can claim that first Constructors' victory since 1998. There's Carlos Sainz getting out his car there. He should be relatively pleased with 8th, considering how the car performed today. And there we are. Confirmation of the results there. Spuds, Ricciardo, Verstappen, the Red Bulls doing well, and they should consolidate the 3rd position from Ferrari there so far this season. Mercedes had a bad day. Nico Rosberg down in 7th. And the Ferraris did pick up some ground after that. That's just me looking through the drivers there. You can see the difficulty level, it is Master. But hopefully I can go up to Legendary again soon, especially after today's victory. So there we are, Love Spuds, currently still leading the championship, has grown that gap again to 17 points. Jensen has got a lot of work to do still, Daniel Ricciardo takes 4th in the championship, so he's moving up the order. And there's the rest of the standings. Nico Hülkenberg, the only mover in the bottom 10 there, the bottom 12. And Lewis drops to 5th position. So in the Constructors, McLaren Honda still on top, 315 points, 111 points ahead of Mercedes, and Red Bull consolidating 3rd at the moment. Let's see if Ferrari can come back. So there we go, top step for Spuds, sandwiched by 2 Red Bulls there, and a good day at the office for him as he lifts that trophy in celebration. Now, time for the celebration with champagne, and join us next time for round 11. I'll see you then.